Every person you have ever met is living inside a story they are telling themselves, and that story has almost nothing to do with reality. They wake up and the monologue begins, narrating their day, interpreting every glance, every word, every silence through a filter so personal it might as well be a different universe. The co-worker who seemed cold was not thinking about you at all. The friend who did not text back was not sending a message with their silence. The stranger who looked at you on the street was not judging what you fear they were judging. But you will never know this because you are trapped inside your own monologue, and your monologue insists that you are the center of everyone else's story. You are not. You are barely a background character in the lives of people you think about constantly, and they are barely a background character in yours. Conversations are not what they appear to be. Two people sit across from each other, words passing between them, and it looks like communication. But watch closely. One person speaks, and while they speak, the other is not listening. They are preparing their response, filtering what they hear through their own obsessions, waiting for a gap to insert themselves. Then they speak, and the first person does the same. What passes for dialogue is actually two monologues taking turns. Two people broadcasting on different frequencies, occasionally overlapping by accident, each leaving the conversation convinced they were understood when they were only heard. The loneliness you feel in your closest relationships is not a failure of those relationships. It is the nature of being a mind that cannot escape itself. There is a horror in realizing that no one has ever truly known you, and a strange liberation that arrives immediately after. The version of you that exists in other people's minds is a character they invented, assembled from fragments of your behavior filtered through their own fears and desires and projections. Your mother does not know you. Your closest friend does not know you. The person who shares your bed has constructed a version of you that serves their psychological needs, and they relate to that construction, not to the actual chaos and contradiction that lives inside your skin. This should devastate you, but if you sit with it long enough, it releases you. If no one knows the real you, then the judgments that have haunted you were never about you in the first place. They were about the character, and characters can be rewritten. Schopenhauer saw human beings as fundamentally isolated, each consciousness sealed inside itself, experiencing the world through a filter so total that the world itself becomes secondary to the filter. You do not see reality, you see your representation of reality. You do not experience other people, you experience your interpretation of other people, shaped by every wound, every need, every unconscious assumption you have accumulated since birth. This is not a flaw in your perception that can be corrected. This is the structure of perception itself. The monologue is not something you do, it is something you are. Consider how much of your mental life is narration. You wake up and immediately begin telling yourself what kind of day this will be. You interact with someone and immediately begin interpreting what they meant, what they think of you, what their behavior reveals about your status, your worth, your place in the social order. You experience an emotion and immediately begin explaining it, justifying it, fitting it into the ongoing story of who you are. The raw experience, the thing itself before the monologue wraps around it, lasts only a moment. Then the voice takes over, and the voice is not reporting what happened. It is constructing what happened. You are not living your life. You are narrating it. And the narration has become so constant, so seamless, that you have forgotten there is a difference. Other people are doing exactly the same thing. The person you are trying to impress is not evaluating the real you. they are evaluating the character that appears in their monologue, a character shaped by their own needs, fears, and projections. If they like you, it is because the character fits a role they need filled. If they dislike you, it is because the character threatens something in their story. The actual you is irrelevant to this process. You could be entirely different inside, kind where they see cruelty, afraid where they see arrogance, and it would not matter. Their monologue has already decided who you are, and your monologue has already decided who they are. Two fictions meeting, interacting, convincing themselves they are communicating. This is why conflicts are so intractable. Each person is arguing with their representation of the other, not with the actual other. Each person is defending against attacks that are not being made, responding to intentions that do not exist, fighting a battle in a war the other person does not know they are fighting. Resolution becomes impossible because both parties are in different realities. They are not disagreeing about the facts. They are disagreeing about which story is true. And both stories are equally constructed, equally subjective, equally immune to evidence that does not fit the narrative. Schopenhauer found this isolating, and it is. The recognition that you will never fully know another person, and they will never fully know you, is a kind of existential loneliness that cannot be fixed by more connection. But there is another way to see it. If everyone is trapped in their own monologue, then the judgments that have wounded you were never accurate assessments. They were projections, distortions, fictions written by minds that had no access to your inner life. The criticism that devastated you came from someone who did not see you, could not see you, because they were looking through a filter that was never about you in the first place. This does not mean other people's perceptions are worthless. Sometimes the character they have constructed catches something real. Sometimes the monologue overlaps with truth by accident, but it means you can hold their perceptions more loosely. You can stop treating every judgment as a verdict on your actual worth. You can recognize that the person praising you is praising a character, and the person condemning you is condemning a character, and neither character is you. The real you is the one reading these words, the one behind the monologue, the one who sometimes catches glimpses of a consciousness that exists before the narration starts. That one is untouchable, not because you are special, but because no one can reach it, not even you, most of the time. The monologues will continue, yours and everyone else's. This is the human condition, and there is no escape. But knowing this changes everything. You can listen differently, hearing the other person's monologue as a window into their psychology rather than a statement about reality. You can speak differently, less desperate to be understood, more curious about how you are being constructed in the other person's story. You can release the need for validation that has exhausted you, because the validation was never about you anyway. It was about the character, and characters dissolve when the story changes. What remains when you see through the monologue? Just this moment, just what is actually here before the voice tells you what it means. It lasts only a second before the narration resumes. But in that second is everything the monologue is trying to find and never can. Silence, presence, the world before the story about the world,